Ayin Aleph Amid Beis. We'll begin Daf Ayin Aleph Amid Aleph, 9 lines from the bottom. Amar Rav Kahana Minayin Leimure Chagigas Chamisha Asar Shenifsalim Belina. How do I know that the Emurim that have to be burnt on the Mizbeach of the Chagig of the 15th, how do I know that the Nifsalim Belina? Now, even though the Chagig is Nechel Shnei Yom V'Layla Echad, so meaning it's the Chagiga of the 15th. Tishavset on the 15th. It's eaten, the meat is eaten the 15th, the following night, and the day of the 16th. But how do I know that the Emurim become possible right by the morning, right by Alois of the 16th, that you don't have the entire day to be maktir the Emurim? They have to be put on the Mizbeach before Alois of the 16th. So even though the meat can be eaten longer, but the emurim that have to be burnt on the mizbeach, they become possible earlier from the morning of the 16th, and you don't have the whole day of the 16th, as opposed to the basar, which you do. The emurim have to be burnt on the mizbeach by the morning. Taisa says that the limud that we're going to learn is not only a limud for Chagiga of Tetzvav, but it's a limud for all emurim of all korbanos, that they have to be put on the mizbeach prior to Alois, the Alois following the day of Shechita. So how do we know that? So because the pasuk says, we learn out, the pasuk says, Shenemar v'lo yalin chelev chagi ad boker. It says that you can't leave it over to the morning. You can't leave over the chelev, the fat of the chagiga, until the morning, v'samech le reishis. Then right next to it, it says, the pasuk about Bikurim, it says reishis. And so we join the two together, the smichas of the two together, layal and chelev chagiat boiker reishis, the first morning. It can't be left up past on the alois of the first morning. By overnight, if it remains there the entire night, by morning it becomes possible lino. So that's how we learn it out from here. Taisus says is that really we have another pasuk. We have a pasuk by the Korban Pesach as well, but the limud is more precise over here. Is that over here we want to learn out that even though the basar is not possible, but the emurim become possible earlier. So we're learning out dafka from this pasuk of Chagiga, where the basar can be eaten during the entire day of the 16th, but the emurim already become possible if they're not burnt by Alois of the 16th. So l'meimra the high biker rishon. So therefore, by having the smichas of chelev chagiat biker and then reishis, it comes to teach us that when it says biker, it means the first morning, and therefore they more possible already by Alois of the 16th. You're saying that boikers means the first morning only because of this drosh of rashis. Haloi calls of rashis. If not for that, havamina my biker sheni. Then you would have said that the boiker, when it says boiker, you mean the second morning. You mean to say that it's the 17th. It's the second morning. How could that be? Why do you need this drosh? How could you possibly say that havamina that the boiker is sheni? Mi kamidi the bosser ifsele mu'urta. Ve'emurim ad safra. How could it be the emurim have more kedusha than the basar? The emurim are burnt on the mizbeach. So how could it be that? How could you have such a havamina and say this? You'd be saying therefore that if the biker means biker sheni, it means to say that the basar has to be eaten by the end of the 16th. This is say chagigas l'shnei yom v'layla echad. So, and you'd be saying that to eat the meat, it's only until the end of the 16th. But to put the emurim on the mizbeach, you have it to the morning of the 17th. How could you say that the emurim, which have more kedusha than the basar, there's a longer period of time with which we have to do the mitzvah, which to put it on the mizbeach? It's a longer period of time than the basar to do the mitzvah of the basar with the achil of the basar. So Amalei Abai says, well, what's the taina? Alamaloya, why not? Why wouldn't you say that? V'harei Pesach, Rebbe ben Azariah, we know with the Korban Pesach, according to Rebbe ben Azariah, he holds that the meat has to be eaten by Chatzos Halayla. The basar, if Salem Chatzos, after already midnight, then it's possible. Ve'emurim ad safra, and the emurim, you have longer period of time, you have till the morning. So we see this. We have a precedent for this. We see this by the Korban Pesach. So that's not a kash. But Amar Rava says, Rav Yosef, this is the kasha. You have the following kasha. Mi kamidi, do you find something, that as far as the balsa, which has less kedusha than the murim. Now we'll see shortly, we'll have a drasha, that when it comes to the balsa, you don't need a special drasha to teach me that the boiker means the first boiker. I would assume that without a special drasha. I would assume that on its own. Rav Kahana lay murim boy rashis, and Rav Kahana is saying, as far as the murim go, I need a special drasha to teach me that the boiker is rashis. Otherwise, I would assume it's the second morning. How can it be that basa, which has less kedusha, I would assume automatically when it says boiker, it means the first morning? And here you're telling by murim, which has more kedusha, that without a drasha, I could have assumed it means the second boiker. You have a longer period of time. Mahi, what's this reference to the bosa? The sign, because we learned in the Brisa, the pasuk says, Lo yolim min ha-bosa asher tizbach b'yom harishon l'boker. It says you should not leave over min ha-bosa, from the meat asher tizbach there. This is the chagigas yud daled that you shecht on erev Pesach b'yom harishon l'boker. You don't leave it over to b'yom harishon l'boker, to the next morning. So what is that? What are we learning here? So that teaches us the chagigas harbasar is nechal for 2 days and a night. So we learn the pasuk as follows. It says, Lo yolim min habasar tizbach be'erev, that which you shaft on erev there, Pesach, meaning the chagigas yudalin, the Yom Harishon should not be left over. B'yom harishon l'boker, after the first day, you have the eating time of it. The first day you shecht it erev Pesach, you can eat it the next day. L'boker, to the following morning. You can't leave it over to the following morning, meaning it has to be eaten on by the morning of the 16th. It has to be eaten by that morning. So therefore, it teaches you that the chagigas yudalit is nechal l'shnei yomim v'lai lechad. It's eaten, it's shefted on yudalit. You have yudalit, you have the following night, the night of the 15th, and then you have the day of the 15th, but you can't leave it over until the 16th. It can't be left over to the 16th. So you have 2 days and a night. So that's where we're learning out that we say that it can't be left over to the morning means the 16th. It means the first morning. Or maybe what it's telling me, and maybe it's teaching me that you can only eat it for 1 day and a night. And therefore, on the morning, it means by the morning of the 15th, it's already becomes possible. When it says Bayom Harishon LaBoker, it says in the pasuk that don't leave it off. Bayom Rishon LaBoker, Hare Boker Sheni Amor. Therefore, it's teaching us the second morning. It says in the pasuk that you can't leave it over. That Lo Yolim Min HaBadash Tizbach Erev Bayom Harishon LaBoker, to the following morning. So therefore, it's teaching us the second morning, not the first one. Bayom Harishon LaBoker, to the following morning. Or maybe it means the first morning. So the Gemara is going to ask. We just said that it can't mean the first one. So the Gemara is going to ask on that shortly. But perhaps in any event, now, where will I apply the din that a chagiga is for 2 days and 1 night? I would say chutz mizu. I would say excluding this. But no, we have another pasuk that says by a shlomim that the shlomim are eaten for 2 days and a night. The pasuk says, "V'im neder nedavas have a karbon b'yom hakriva zivcha yochel mimachras v'anoisim mena yochel v'anoisim b'sar azov b'yom hashlish b'yesh yisar." The Torah tells us that by a shlomim it's eaten for 2 days and 1 night. Now the Torah says, "V'im neder nedavas." There's a riboy, "V'im neder nedavas." So we're marbe that not only a shlomim of a neder nedava, but also a chayva, even a chagigas also for 2 days and 1 night. So therefore, we have a riboy for the chagiga that it's eaten for 2 days and a night, And we know that we're talking over there about a chagiga. So therefore, that pasuk is telling us that the chagiga of Tesvav is eaten for 2 days and a night, and this pasuk over here is teaching us that the chagigas Yudalit is 2 days and a night. So therefore, limit chagigas harbasa shenechels l'shnei yom v'layla echad, and therefore it's telling us that it's the chagiga of the Yudalit that this pasuk is telling you that what you shecht by erev, what you shecht on erev Pesach, it's nechal for the morning till the morning of the 16th. It's 2 days and a night. Now, the Gemara is going to develop the kasha. So, Omar Mar or in Ella Boikerishain, perhaps you might say that it's only the first morning, and it's teaching us that it's only the Chagigas Yudalit is only for a morning and a night, and it's not for 2 days. Frankly, Gemara, what do you mean? How could you say that? We already rejected that possibility. It says which means the morning after the first day of Pesach, the morning after the 15th, which is the morning of the 16th. So we already proved that it's a Baiker Sheni. So why is now the Tana again saying perhaps it means the first morning? So Mar explains as follows. No, maybe the pasuk is talking about 2 different chagigas. It's not one chagiga, and therefore it doesn't mean the chagigas Yudalit is eaten to the 16th. There are 2 different chagigas. Achas chagigas arbasar, v'achas chagigas chamishasar, v'zula biker. And therefore it means that it's talking about 2 separate ones. So it says the pasuk lo yalim min abasar shetizbach erev. Don't leave it to the next morning, meaning the Chagiga Yudalit has to be eaten only for a day and night. And then it says, Be'erev, then it says, Bayom Harishon, rather, Bayom Harishon Labaikir is talking about the Chagiga Tesvav, that it can't be left over to the next day. So maybe it's talking each one till the following morning. And it's perhaps not talking about one Chagiga, it's not talking about the Yudalit that can't be left over to the morning of the 16th. It's perhaps the Chagigas Yudalit can't be left over to the morning of the 15th. The Chagiga of the 15th can't be left over to the morning of the 16th. Haramar, no. It's that we learn that the Chagiga is eaten for 2 days and 1 night. Then that pasuk is what's it going to be referring to, the pasuk im neder and adava. So if we're saying that our pasuk over here, this pasuk over here, is referring to 2 chagigas, if we're saying the pasuk lo yalim min basar tizbayah bayam rishon labayk is 2 separate chagigas, what is the riboy from neder and adava? B'mai, what's it talking about? If you're telling me the chagigas arbasar aksiba yom v'layla, well, you just said it's only for 1 day and night. Chagigas chamisha asar aksiba yom v'layla. And also in this pasuk is saying it's only for 1 day and night. Ella, you must say, Haila Chagigas Chamishas. Ella, you must say the pasuk, V'im Neder is referring to the Chagig of the Chamishasar, and you have 2 days and a night. V'hai Kula Krila Chagigas Harbasar, and this pasuk over here is referring to the Chagigas of the 14th. And Limit al Chagigas Harbasar, Shenei Chelas L'Shnei Yom V'Layla Ech, and it's teaching you also that the Chagig of the 14th is for 2 days and 1 night. So therefore, we know that both Chagigas are for 2 days and 1 night. This pasuk over here by Erev is referring to the Chagigas Yudalit, and V'im Neder and Dova is Chagigas Tesvav. Now, this has developed the kasha. Time that we say that the morning over here is the second morning, D'chsi Bayam Harishon Labayker. The only reason that I learn out over here that I have it till the second morning, to the 16th, is because it says Bayam Harishon Labayker. It says Bayam Harishon Labayker, the my biker Sheni, which means to say the morning of the 16th. But but if it hadn't said Vayem Rishon L'Biker, if it hadn't said that, I would say Stam Biker. Biker means Biker Rishon. V'aval Gav Deloy Kosev Vei Rashis, and even though it doesn't say Rashis, I would assume on its own that when it says Biker, it means the first morning. Therefore, in terms of the Basar, so his kasha is as follows. In terms of the Basar, without a special limud, when it says Biker, the assumption would be that it's the first Biker. So why are you telling me Lagavi the Emura? why you tell me the Gabi the Emurim that it's only because of the smichas, the bikurim, where it says rachis, that I would say the Boker is the first morning. Otherwise, I would think it's the second morning. Well, how could that be? By the Basar, my assumption is automatically that the Boker means the Boker means the first morning. I should say that also certainly by the Emurim, even without a special limud, that Boker means the first morning. Therefore, that's his kasha. We know the Emurim becomes possible until the first morning, and I don't need a special drosha. We would know it automatically. So the Maisa, it comes out that we're learning out from this pasuk, that don't leave it over till the morning following the first day, meaning the morning of the 16th. So that's the way Rashi learns it. He says, and therefore we learn out that it's to the Boker of the Rishon, that it's Nechal, that the first day of Yom Tov, and until the Boker you have till the morning of the second day. Tosfos asks a kasha, how could it be? We know that the Chagig is Nechal for 2 days and 1 night. Now, if you're telling me that it becomes possible only by the morning of the 16th, then it's 2 days and 2 nights. If it's the Chagigas Yudalit, so he has the day of Yudalit, he has the following night, the night of the 15th, the day of the 15th, and if it doesn't become possible until the morning of the 16th, that means you have the night of the 16th as well. So it's 2 days and 2 nights. That's what Tosfos and Iblayv share. The Megillah Shlema answers that the pasuk says that Lo Yolim Min Abasar Asher Tizbach B'Yom HaRishon, meaning that it says B'Yom HaRishon, meaning that you can only have the eating time of it is not the night time of the second night. It's that you have the eating of it is B'Yom HaRishon. So meaning once that first day, the 15th of Pesach, passes, you don't have that night to eat it. Now, it only becomes possible until the next morning, but you're not allowed to eat it because it's only what you can eat in the 15th. You don't have the eating of it on the night of the following night. So therefore, that's how we come out with the eating of the basar, but the emurim become possible already by the first morning. The emurim become already possible. It's like the Mishnah. So now we have a new topic that we're discussing in the Mishnah, and that is the concept of Toya B'Dvar Mitzvah. If a person makes a mistake while doing a mitzvah, is he chayiv or not? So l'gavei l'mashal chil Shabbos. If in the process of doing a mitzvah he's machal Shabbos, is he chayiv chatas? Do we say consider him like a shogeg, or do we say no, he's toyev b'dvar mitzvah and he's potem? It's like the Mishnah Pesach lishma b'Shabbos. Now we know the Korban Pesach you have to shechet lishma. If you don't shechet lishma, then it's possible. So if you shech the Korban Pesach shaloi lishma on Shabbos, so meaning therefore the Korban is possible. Therefore it's a chilul Shabbos. He did shchita, and he's not yotze the Korban with it, so there's no heter for that. Chayiv alav chatos. Then he's chayiv chatos for that, because he's machal Shabbos, and there's no mitzvah. Ushar kol hazvakim sheshoklim shem Pesach. Now, if he had another Korban, then he shechted it for the purpose of Pesach. For instance, he had an animal he designated for a shlomim, and he forgot, and he made a mistake, and he took that animal and he shechted it for the Korban Pesach. So we say, Im eino ru'uyim chayiv. If this animal was one that was not fit for a Korban Pesach, it's not suitable for Korban Pesach. For instance, a Korban Pesach has to be a zachar within the first year. Let's say this is in a cave past the first year. So it's clear that this cannot be used for a Korban Pesach. If he did that, he's chayiv. He was machal Shabbos. He was not mekayim any mitzvah, so he's chayiv for that. But if it is suitable for a Korban Pesach, so he made a mistake, which is an understandable mistake perhaps, it's not so clear cut that this animal was not the one designated for the Korban Pesach. Rabbi Elazar mechayiv chatas. Rabbi Elazar says nevertheless he's chayiv chatas because he's toya, he made a mistake, and therefore there was no dechia. Shabbos was not nitna litchais for this purpose, and he was therefore considered to be machal Shabbos. there's no heter to be makar this korban on Shabbos, so he's chai v'chat. But Rav Yeshua paiter. Rav Yeshua says he's poter. Rav Yeshua says he's poter because he says he's toya. He made a mistake bidvar mitzvah in the process of doing a mitzvah, in the process of trying to do a mitzvah. And the way Rashi explains it, he holds that there is some sort of mitzvah over here, that the korban is not possible. So Lamaisa, even though it was the Shabbos Leinitna Litchais for this purpose, there's no heter to be Deicha Shabbos for this purpose, but he was Makayim mitzvah, he's Toyim Dvar mitzvah, also mitzvah, so he's potter. So therefore, he holds that that's a reason to pater. Now, if he was not Makayim any mitzvah whatsoever, then we would be maskim that you're chai. But this is considered toiv dvar mitzvah, also mitzvah. And we'll see later that even toiv dvar mitzvah loy also mitzvah if you're chai or you're potter. But the way Rashi explains the machlekes over here is, if it's clear cut that this animal was not right for the Korban Pesach, then everyone agrees it's not a considered toya. He should not have made that mistake. It's clear that an akeva you can't use for the Korban Pesach. So everyone agrees it's chayav. If the case is he's toya and he was not mekayim a mitzvah, also everyone agrees he's chayav for Chil Shabbos. He has to bring a chatos for Chil Shabbos. Machlekes is, if he was toya, made a mistake, which is an understandable mistake. Now he did some sort of mitzvah, even though Shabbos was loy nitna litchais. Rabbi Lezer says, nevertheless you're chayav. Rabbi Yeshua says you're toya midvar mitzvah, also mitzvah, and you're potter. So this dion, the rest of the Mishnah, we'll see in the next shiur.